Alrighty, I have 60 Saints for Boys by Joan Wyndham, and I will read to you St. Andrew. The only thing that we really know about St. Andrew are in the Bible for anybody to read, and so I needn't tell you about them. But the story that I am going to tell you is one that people used to tell each other and talk about hundreds of years ago, and by now, no one knows how much of it is true and how much of it is just a story. Well, one day Andrew was walking along the edge of the bottom part of France when he came to a town called Nice, which is a place where heaps of people go in the winter because it is nice and sunny, and he went into a hotel to have some lunch. When the waiter came along, he said to Andrew, "I take it, sir, that you are a stranger in these parts." "Well, yes, I am," said Andrew. "Why do you want to know?" "Well, I wanted to warn you, sir," said the waiter, putting a dish of macaroni and cheese in front of Andrew. It was Friday. "There are 7 devils who stay just outside the town on the way to Cap d'Antibes, and they kill all the people who go along the road." "What on earth for?" asked Andrew in a surprised voice, and he put some salt on the edge of his plate. "Because they want the people's souls," said the waiter, flicking Andrew's table with his dinner napkin. "They chose the wicked-looking ones that haven't had time to go to confession. I just wanted to warn you." "Do you think I look wicked?" asked St. Andrew anxiously. "No offense, I'm sure, sir," said the waiter rather nervously. "And none taken," said Andrew kindly. Andrew finished his macaroni cheese and said his grace, folded up his dinner napkin, paid up his bill, and started off along the road towards Cap d'Antibes. When he came to the city gates, he shouted in a very loud voice, "Devils, come here, I want to speak to you." The devils looked at each other. "What shall we appear as?" they said. "Let's look very frightening." "Do you suppose he's afraid of dogs?" asked one. "He might easily be," said another. So they turned into 7 different kinds of dogs, all black and snarling. There was a black growling retriever, a black barking Aberdeen, a black slinking greyhound, a black snapping poodle, a black bristling bulldog, a black menacing Great Dane, and a black treacherous collie. And they all charged down the road at Andrew, looking as frightening as they could. When the front one, it was the bristling bulldog, was only about a yard away, Andrew said, "Stop, in the name of the Lord." The devils all stopped very suddenly, and some of them skidded in the dust. Andrew was much more frightening for them than they were for Andrew. "I command you to go away from here and never come back," said Andrew. And immediately the 7 dogs vanished. The people of Nice were so astonished that they all became Christians at once, and Andrew had a very busy time baptizing them and asking them to tea to tell them how glad he was that they had stopped being pagans. When they were all settled down nicely, Andrew thought that he had better be getting on to Cap d'Antibes. So one morning he set off and everyone waved goodbye. As he came to the gates of Cap d'Antibes, he met a funeral procession, and he stopped the chief mourner to ask who was dead. "It is my only son," said the chief mourner, "and now I shall never see him again." The people of Cap d'Antibes were pagan and didn't believe in heaven. "How did he die?" asked Andrew very sympathetically. "I'm so very sorry for you." "Well, he just went outside the other side of town for a walk," said the chief mourner, mopping up some tears, "and 7 black dogs killed him." "7 black dogs," said Andrew in a tremendous surprise. "Were they all fierce and all different kinds?" "I don't know, I wasn't there," said the chief mourner. "And anyway, what does it matter what they were like?" "What will you give me if I make your son alive again?" asked Andrew. "I haven't got anything very valuable," said the chief mourner, and as he was speaking, he pulled his overcoat round his rich diamond belt. "I'm a very poor man." "What about your son? Isn't he valuable?" asked Andrew, who had seen the diamond belt. "Oh, you can have him," said the chief mourner. "He was never much good to me, but can you really make him alive?" "God will, if I ask him to," said Andrew, and he blessed the chief mourner's son, and he sat up and became a Christian and a disciple for Andrew, which was very useful because there was always such a lot to do. Then Andrew went and found the 7 devils and asked them what they meant by it. "You never said we mustn't come to Cap d'Antibes," said the head devil. "You only said to go away from Nice, and we did." "Well, go back to your own place then," said Andrew sternly. He was sorry he hadn't thought of saying that before. "And never come back anywhere." And that was the end of them. Soon after this, Andrew came to a place and converted the wife of the governor. The governor, whose name was Aegeus, was so angry that he sent some soldiers to arrest Andrew. Then he sat on his chair of office and glared at him. "What do you mean by it?" he growled, "eh?" Well, she wanted to be a Christian, so I let her, said Andrew. She just found out the truth. Rubbish, said Aegeus, the governor. Tell that to your disciples. Now, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock sharp, you must come and offer a sacrifice to the gods in the temple. I offer a sacrifice to God every morning, said Andrew. I offer a spotless lamb, which, after it has been given to all the people, is still alive and whole. He meant the sacrifice of Mass, of course, but Aegeus didn't understand him. Don't be absurd, said Aegeus. That is quite impossible. Explain to me what you mean. You will never understand unless you become a Christian, said Andrew. I wouldn't explain such a holy thing to a pagan who might laugh at it. Will you be a Christian like your wife? I won't, screamed Aegeus in a furious temper because Andrew wouldn't tell him about the sacrifice. I'll torture you until you tell me. And he ordered that Andrew should be scourged. After that, he said, Now will you tell me what you meant and offer sacrifice in the temple? I've already said that I do offer a sacrifice every morning, said Andrew. Very well, you shall be crucified like you say your God was, said Aegeus. He was trying to frighten Andrew into telling him. Thank you, said Andrew. That is the greatest honor that I could have. I will be proud to die in the same way as our Lord. Well, just for that you shan't, said Aegeus spitefully. I'll have your cross made like an X, and so, you see, you won't die the way that you want to. Our Lord doesn't mind the shape, said Andrew. And so he was crucified on a cross made like an X, and it is still called St. Andrew's Cross. Did you know that St. Andrew is the patron saint of Scotland, and Scotland's flag is a blue one with a white St. Andrew's cross on it? St. Andrew's special day is on November 30th, and there are heaps of people called after him, especially in Scotland. Anyone whose birthday is on that day can have St. Andrew for their special saint, as well as the other one that they were named after. The end.